Welcome to CLIC Connect. I'm your host, Craig Sullivan. Today, we've got Pirate Revenue. Chris Baggett from Canyon Creek Lodging. How are you, Chris?
Craig, I'm great. How are you?
Good. He really doesn't need the eye patch. It's just a pirate thing. R.
Right. Yeah, I'm telling Craig before this meeting, I literally went out and bought this thing. We've got it all over our literature and our billboards and everything else. But it's interesting to wear. If you've never worn an eye patch, man, it's a different experience.
It's a little different. Yeah, go ahead and feel free to take that off, my friend.
No, I'm going to keep it on.
Okay.
It couldn't get any more awkward. I'm going to keep it on. It'll keep me centered.
Okay. There we go. So do me a favor and tell our audience about your Pirate Revenue and what you're doing to help the small hoteliers across the country in this horrible time that we're
Absolutely. In. We and really thanks to you, we've got a lot of things off the ground. We're a revenue management service delivery company, and we've been doing it. I've been playing revenue management since the 90s, early 90s actually, but it put this business together, this model together in the late 2000s, and we've been sort of picking off private owners and operators and just relationships that we had.
Right.
But it wasn't until until COVID came around that we're like, we're pretty good at this, and there's probably a lot of people out there that are suffering. So what can we do for free or whatever? Call it philanthropy. I don't care what you call it, philanthropy. No hotel left behind. And
right.
It became this. I'll be honest with you, Craig. I don't remember where the patch came from. It just came to us one day, and we're like, I think it speaks to the fact that we don't live by the rules right now, and we can't. Right. Nobody can, and nobody should. You got to do what's necessary for the assets. So we've been delivering and preaching this revenue management culture, and we've tagged on this pirate revenue and this thing, and we just hung it on everything. We want everybody to think like that and just be free and not feel like they're locked down to something.
Good. Now, what are some of the avenues that you're showing the smaller hotelier and even the mid-cap, guys that you're working with on where they can save some money?
Well, it works on both sides of the revenue fence, Craig. Honestly, there's the brand component that does what we do. There's the management or the owner and operator that does what we do. We sort of sit between that. And what the owner does sometimes isn't, they don't know everything. They can't see other markets. They can't see the other brands. And right. The brands have, they've been really impacted. This, their furloughs and layoffs to the point where there's a lot of, I won't say rudderless, but let's just use that term because we're in this sort of pirate world. But I mean, there's a lot of things that aren't happening. And there's things that the hotel has been left sort of stuck in, say, third gear or second gear, and they don't know that they should be changing some things. Right. And that's what we do. Like, we'll go on the top side and we'll audit everything the hotel is doing or not doing, and then we'll make sure they're market appropriate. Hey, why is your government rate $150 when your market's $90? Nobody's going to book that. There's a lot of government business out there. There's a lot of training out there. There's everything from the middle of the country that picked up. We have a client that picked up the Coast Guard. Can you imagine someone in Missouri with a giant Coast Guard piece of business? Well, that's because they got their government stuff set up.
Yeah.
So, and that, and the nursing and the medical and everything else, just make sure those channels and those pipes and those segments are doing right. And as an independent operator, small owner, whatever, and even up to the management company, there's a lot of things that just get missed. And we've become just a good audit advocate for those things and helping those that need help.
Unfortunately, in downturns, that's where we seem to learn these lessons and we kind of lose some of these best practices. When we're fat and happy. So, what's one of the biggest mistakes that you're seeing out there by the small operator?
Well,
what's the thing that costed them money on a regular basis besides the price?
You touched on something a second ago as you led into this. So, as hard as it is, and you think, okay, I gotta undo everything that I'm doing now. It's hard to get away from it. And we've sat in on calls, I mean, as recently as 2 days ago, or last week, Friday, where, and I can't go specific on it or whatever, but I will tell you that there's a lot of automation still left in place by the brands. And let me go specific for you. If you have a brand and you're using a brand revenue system, Marriott uses One Yield, Hilton uses Grow. Everybody's got something, probably, right? If you haven't locked that thing down, you're hurting yourself, because those things they're not just, they're designed for the good times. They're designed for the repetition, for the consistent, travel patterns and everything else. All the cylinders, all the segmentation hitting, groups, pick it, whatever. Your hotel is running 70% at $70 or $115, whatever. It doesn't know, even though it's been struggling since March to teach itself. And the technology behind it are trying to adjust for this year and be prepared for next year. But we're trending and watching all these decisions, and they're still struggling, Craig. And it's costing or impacting hotels that don't have the ability or haven't taken those steps to sort of turn it off. Yeah. So there's the mentality of I know it's different right now, but I haven't made the steps to correct for right now. You know what I mean? Yeah, so there's little granular pieces that and sometimes they don't want to. Like, I don't know if I should do that. Well, yeah, you should, because this is what's happening. And so we can show that, and we have been.
So, Chris, tell us, where's your biggest impact point in the country right now? I know you're trying to work with everybody across the United States, but where are you seeing the most activity right now?
We would say from the half of the country all the way over to the East Coast. We're seeing some demand. We do have some, say, conversations and new engagement yet, say, West Coast. We have a little bit of practice, if you will, in the sort of Denver and the Colorado region up in Montana. But we would love to help those on the West Coast, obviously. So, but I would say where the attention tends to be Texas, where we do have a footprint now, all the way over to Florida and up through into New York.
That's great. Now, I think you've got a little bit of breaking news. Didn't you have something happen in Tennessee recently?
Yeah, we don't really talk about our clients too much, but I remember having this conversation with you. I was like, dude, you'll never guess who we signed. So the Graceland Hotel, the guest house at Graceland, reached out to us, and we had some great discussions with them. And we've got a call this afternoon. In fact, after this call, our second call, it's a 450 room. It's Preferred Hotels, which is a great independent sort of delivery and just great service provider and distribution and so forth. And so we've been we were in discussion with them for a couple of weeks. We weren't really sure we would get it, because think about our focus is that limited service, right? The box that's as big as an Embassy Suites that I, cut my teeth in, and but I've got the right people around it, and we're just really excited. I hope they're okay with me pitching them or whatever. But I mean, come on, it's Elvis, crying out loud. It's just really cool, right?
My friend, we are out of time. So how can everybody get a hold of you, and hopefully you can help them and maybe even get a couple of contacts?
Time always flies with you, sir. So we're on LinkedIn. We're getting our website together. For the love of God, please forgive us for not having the www.canyoncricolodging.com live for us. But, our LinkedIn is live. You can reach out to me. I'll just give my local number, 214-535-1039. We're here to help everybody, Craig. No hotel left behind. Okay.
There you go, my friend. I really appreciate you making the time, and you're doing, some really great things out there for our community. So until the next episode, from Pirate Revenue, aloha.
Aloha. You guys have a good one.